Last week, I talked about the NWA announcing that it plans to bring back the territory era of wrestling, with NWA Exodus Pro Midwest being the first affiliate territory, led by NWA World Champion EC3. They said that their affiliate promotions will have access to top NWA champions and stars, and those promotions would also play a role in who appears on NWA television in the future. Now, since Billy Corgan relaunched the NWA in 2017, he has not been able to secure a television deal. So they have been airing their shows on YouTube. For a while, they put NWA Power behind a paywall, I think maybe on Fight. But they ditched that a while back. Billy was on Busted Open Radio last week. He announced the NWA had signed not one but two television deals with what he called a top 20 network for two totally different wrestling-related products that they will be offering in 2024. And when I talked about this last week, I said that sounded to me like it's one deal for Power and another deal for some sort of reality show. And I also said that I thought the top 20 network he was referring to was either going to be Ion Television or the CW network. Well, House of Wrestling reported this week that the television deal is in fact with the CW network. And one of the two shows that will air there will be NWA Power, and the other one will be a reality show about the day-to-day behind-the-scenes business of the NWA. Now, this is something that Corgan apparently has wanted to do for a very long time. He almost did it a decade ago when he was running his Resistance Pro promotion in Chicago, and he signed a deal with A&E to produce a similar type of show, but then the network pulled the plug on all of its reality programming, and the whole project got scrapped. And so filming for this NWA reality show, it's already been happening, it's already underway. It's actually almost done. NWA Power is expected to debut on the CW before the reality show does. The show has already undergone some production upgrades in preparation for the move to TV. It was not made clear to House of Wrestling if the show will be 1 or 2 hours, but it does not sound like it will air live, which I never expected it would. It was described as the NWA taping episodes of the show in blocks, similar to the way Impact does for Access TV. As for the NWA's future on YouTube, it was speculation to the website, House of Wrestling, that the new NWA territories Corgan is launching could find a home. Some of the territories could find a home on their YouTube channel. And that is the other potential benefit for some of these independent promotions, because I asked the question last week, what really is in it for these indie promotions? You know, are they going to have to pay? I still think they'll probably have to pay to be designated as an NWA affiliate. And so if so, how much? How much are they expected to pay? Is it even worth it to them? You know, just slapping the NWA name and logo on something, that alone does not do anything for them. But if some of their talent might be able to get exposure on Power, and Power now is going to be airing on a top 20 network with the reach that the CW has, you know, now it may not be Fox or NBC, but the CW has a greater reach than Access has, right? And Access airs Impact every week. Then that would be a step up for a lot of these smaller promotions. If they can get their talent some exposure on an actual television show. You know, even the idea of them getting more exposure for their shows on the NWA's YouTube channel, right? The NWA has 267,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's a lot more than a lot of these indie promotions have on their own channel, right? If they even have a YouTube channel. Now, a lot of my videos do better numbers than the videos on the NWA channel, and I have 75,000 subscribers. But still, if you have a smaller independent promotion and you're looking to get more eyeballs on your product, this could be one way to do that. I mean, think about this. WOW Women of Wrestling is syndicated by CBS, right? The show airs on a lot of CW affiliates. WOW actually pulls in more viewers than Impact does on most weeks. The audience for WOW is said to be anywhere from 250,000 to as much as 450,000 viewers per episode. Now, I would love to know what the lead-in is in some of these markets that gets them 450,000 viewers. I'm sure that's not what they're getting every single week. I mean, that sounds nuts. That's more than a lot of episodes of Rampage does, airing on TNT. Big difference is that the show airs free over the air in these markets, whereas Rampage or even Impact, those shows air on cable, which you have to pay for. Collision did over 500,000 viewers last weekend on TNT, and you have WOW pulling an audience of not that much less, but you don't hear much about it. Right? And it also may not air at the same time in all markets. When you have a syndicated show like that, it could air in one market. I mean, look, it could air in New York at 11 o'clock at night and get a great lead-in from the local news or a show that comes on before it. And in another market, it could air at 10 o'clock in the morning. So it varies. And WOW also airs on Vice TV, and I think the show is available on Pluto, has a Pluto TV channel as well. I don't know if those numbers are factored into that overall audience. I checked out a recent episode of NWA Power. The production is good. I think the show has better production than Impact does. You know, it may have the best production outside of a major company like WWE or AEW. But the look and the feel of the show is very different than it was when I used to watch it when they filmed at the, it was the studios in GPB or GBP, whatever it was, studios in Atlanta. Now I think they tape it outside of studios in Nashville. They obviously have a smaller audience, a smaller crowd. The crowd was relatively small before. They had maybe 200 people. It's less than that now. It has to be, because they never actually show the crowd on TV. You know, and if you watch the show, it's not as bright and well lit as it used to be. I think if they're taking this to television, that has to change. Even if they have to pay some people to fill out the audience, I think you want to make the best possible impression with those first few shows. I hope they do well, because then everybody benefits. You know, a good first step was getting their world title off of Tyrus. That was an absolute embarrassment. Every time I watched him, the guy's in there moving around like he's got explosives strapped to his chest, like he's afraid to bump into anything. Billy thought that it would be good for heat. Put the title on Tyrus. It wasn't good for heat. I guarantee you it didn't net them a single dollar more than they would have made with that title on somebody else. But I hope they can find an audience. It's not going to be easy. You know, WWE has a studio show every Tuesday night on USA. That gets them 800,000 viewers. This is not WWE. And Billy's studio show is not as bright and flashy as theirs is. But it's different enough that maybe it can appeal to a certain segment of fans that are into that sort of thing and that are looking for wrestling maybe in a more intimate setting that isn't as flashy as what you would see and as polished as what you would see on WWE television. I do think there's an audience for that. I just don't know how big that audience is. But this will be the biggest platform that Billy has ever had. We'll see how much of an audience there really is on television for something like this.